Salutations, you guys, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Crisis Corner. I've called this one the Brussels and ISIS edition. However, if you haven't, please check out my Paris and ISIS edition because with what I'm seeing so far, the formula is pretty similar. With that being said, let's jump right into it. At least 38 people have been confirmed dead in multiple explosions in Brussels, with at least 3 different Americans who were seriously injured. The blasts were reported at the international airport and a subway station near the European Union office. The fact that we have ISIS being more and more bold in their attacks shows you that they're not only getting funding to travel around the world, but that they're also spreading the pestilence and the plague that is ISIS, the terror attacks that are starting to happen consistently around the world. And that's the idea behind ISIS, is that it's never fully defeated. The fact that there were 2 explosions in the departure hall of Brussels airport shows you that these people are getting more and more bold. They're even evacuating a power plant. The fact that they're having to evacuate a power plant shows you that not only did they possibly receive threats that their power plant was under attack, but that they knew their infrastructure was actually being targeted. I have a clip for you guys showing you the actual airport being evacuated. Like I said, they're getting more and more bold in these attacks. Shows you that they're trying to advance the global jihad. However, when we're looking at this, what we really need to understand is that these people, ISIS, these members, they're being used for a global agenda. They're being used to create this global destabilization factor. I'm not sure if you know who Christopher Murray is, but he has talked in length about giving Obama the ISIS War Powers Act and how detrimental that really could be.
Is working. Madam President, today I wanted to come down to the floor to speak very briefly about a resolution that the majority leader introduced, I believe, earlier today. This is an authorization for military force resolution that apparently purports to give the president legal authority to conduct military operations against ISIS. Before we break for the weekend, Madam President, I thought it was important to come to the floor to explain why, very briefly, to my colleagues, to explain what this resolution really is. This resolution is a total rewrite of the War Powers Clause of the United States Constitution. Let's be clear about that. It is essentially a declaration of international martial law, a sweeping transfer of military power to the president that will allow him or her to send U.S. troops almost anywhere in the world for almost any reason with absolutely no limitations.
So what would be the perfect thing to use, the perfect boogeyman for any kind of situation to get yourself inside of it? If we could raise ISIS up whenever we needed to go into any part of the world for any kind of reason, they would play the perfect patsy. That's why they're being allowed to operate on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. They're being used as useful idiots. And so whenever these things happen, this is the type of false flag, because we need to start looking at the peripheral events that are happening because of this, you see. So I have a video that I want you guys to check out. Apparently it's the fake footage from 2011 that they're trying to circulate as far as what's going on in Belgium. Take a look. Let me know what you guys think. So I'm not sure if you guys have caught on to the shake and bake operation that is ISIS. You see, they send someone over there, ISIS, they get them all riled up. They started creating all kinds of, segregation, all kinds of division, et cetera, and then what happens? We start delivering democracy. Do you see how that works? Do you see how that shake and bake operation works? So lackadaisically, while this is all going on, our president is in Cuba, talking to Castro. I think his name is Fidel Castro, not Fidel Castro, because the presidential candidacy is actually handed down through legacies. So he inherited his brother inherited the actual legacy. So what they're talking about is human rights, communism, et cetera, et cetera. But what does our president say? We will bring them justice. We will bring them American justice. I have a clip for you guys.
Before I begin, please indulge me. I want to comment on the terrorist attacks that have taken place in Brussels. The thoughts and the prayers of the American people are with the people of Belgium, and we stand in solidarity with them in condemning these outrageous attacks against innocent people. We will do whatever is necessary to support our friend and ally Belgium in bringing to justice those who are responsible. And this is yet another reminder that the world must unite. We must be together, regardless of nationality or race or faith, in fighting against the scourge of terrorism. We can and we will defeat those who threaten the safety and security of people all around the world.
So now we see more of the global government actually forming. We're having an American president make a statement about a foreign country in Cuba, you see. But look at what's actually happening in Brussels, in Belgium, while this is all happening. It's good to see that the people are coming together, but you would think that after a while we would be able to recognize the patterns that is ISIS. They've been in Paris, California, Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, Ankara, Istanbul, and now they're in Brussels. We really need to understand the plague that is ISIS. Whenever I'm saying we're seeing the global government form, we need to look at what's happening in the peripheral actions that these people are trying to institute. Already, we have Ted Cruz saying we need to have more empowered police so that they can patrol quote-unquote Muslim neighborhoods. This is persecution if I have ever seen it. This is, like I said, the global government. We're having an American president try to dictate or advise to a foreign dignitary, or to at least a foreign nation. What makes this even worse is the fact that they're trying to enforce the global police state. The fact that ISIS is springing up all over the world gives these people unilateral power to do these types of things, to enforce this global police state, to advocate the idea that they can close borders, that they can have checkpoints, that they can have search and seizures, that they can stop and search you. This is the police state that they're trying to do. We already know that ISIS is backed by the U.S. government. What is the purpose of having these terror attacks? As I've said before in my Paris and ISIS edition, look at the peripheral events that are happening because of it, okay? I have a short clip for you because, as I've said before, this should really be familiar to you guys. From the November 13th, 2015 attacks in Paris. I have a short clip from you. It's what Francois Hollande said.
Also decided to close the borders. To make sure that those who committed these crimes can be stopped.
The footage that you're seeing right here took place a few days after the actual Paris attacks. So this is what I really want people to understand. Look at the peripheral events. They say all of this monitoring of us is to help with terrorist threats and attacks. And yet they're not able to see this coming. What is the purpose of having all of these ISIS terrorist attacks? Look at the peripheral events that are occurring. All right, one more thing I want to go over with you guys, and then I'll tie this video up. The fact that we got crisis actors involved in this. Two quick things. This photo over here to your left, where you see this gentleman. This is apparently a photo that took place right after the actual bombing itself. So then explain to me why there's another person seemingly standing over him calmly. There's no medical supplies. There's no actual blood pool. He's not, freaking out or in shock. I mean, right here you can actually see where I put some of my notes. Like, what is that a triangle style ruler in the back? That pool of blood doesn't really look like it's there. His legs are clearly way too long for his body, and it seems like he's checking time. You see. So there's a number of indications that this photo is doctored, or at least it's just there for the media, so they can have sympathy. And over here on your right-hand side, you'll see where there's a boy named Mason Wells. He's 19 years old. He was at the Paris attacks as well as the Boston bombing. And now somehow he's here in Brussels. So explain to me how someone can have this much, I don't want to say luck, but this much of a curse or that much synchronicity apply to him. So there's a number of indications as far as this Brussels attack being a false flag, you see. But I mean, like I said, this is only the day after. I'm just looking at the peripheral events, the fact that they do have troops on the street, or I mean, equipment, military equipment on the streets, actually searching for these quote-unquote terrorists, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a number of things we have to look at when we're taking a look at this whole ISIS in Brussels situation. So in closing, all I really have for you guys is pretty much pay attention to the peripheral events that are going to happen because of this. Watch what's going to happen in Belgium. Watch what's going to happen to the people. Are they going to get stirred up? Are they going to come together? It seems like the nation itself or the town itself is perfectly fine, but what happens whenever global government starts working? That's all I got for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'll have it in the description bar below. And as always, you're more than welcome to hit me up. I know how strange all this stuff can really be. But that's all I really got. This is Noisera, Freedom Faction, out.